Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are raising concerns about the growing federal layoffs. Among them is Alaska Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski. Wednesday, she spoke with CBS News congressional correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns about a former staffer who was let go from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
She's with NOAA, but she accepted a new position, a higher position. She's been with them for a decade plus, but because she accepted this higher position, in this position she's considered probationary. And so she is the subject of these terminations. And it'd be one thing if they say, we just don't need you anymore in this position. But what they've communicated to her is that her work performance was poor. So now she has a black mark on a record that is unfair, unjustified, and quite flat out wrong.
Caitlin Huey-Burns joins us now. Caitlin, this is similar to what we've been hearing about what some of these probationary employees are being told, that their performance isn't up to par. And many of the unions who represent these employees say that's just not true. What else did Senator Murkowski say about these layoffs and the impact not only on employees in her state of Alaska, but her constituents?
Yeah, Lindsay, I think something that is underestimated is that the vast majority of federal workers are actually located outside of the Washington, D.C. area. And Alaska, as Murkowski told us, actually has the most federal employees per capita out of any state aside from Maryland and Virginia, those states surrounding D.C. So these cuts to the federal workforce, she says, are really hitting home in her state. Remember, Murkowski is a Republican. This is a very red state. It has 2 Republican senators. And so her concerns were what these cuts were doing in her state specifically and the cuts to the actual work being done in her state. And so she said she's gotten a high volume of calls to her office. She's going to hold a teletown hall tonight. Should also note that the other Republican senator from Alaska also has raised concerns about these cuts, though Dan Sullivan, though he is a member of the DOJ caucus here in the Senate, and has said that he wants to, see what kinds of cuts are coming and how they're going to affect Alaskans. But the bottom line here is that you have some Republicans here on Capitol Hill starting to voice some concern about the way in which these cuts are in the way in which the government is going about these cuts. There is a recognition among Republican lawmakers that these cuts need to happen in some way, shrinking the size of government, but how they're going to go about it raises some questions. Another moderate Republican, Susan Collins, told reporters earlier today that she has a lot of concerns about what she has called the indiscriminate nature of these cuts.
And another topic of high priority there on Capitol Hill today is what we're hearing in terms of the fallout of President Trump's comments on the war in Ukraine and President Zelensky. What are you hearing?
Yeah, you have a divide in the Republican Party. Those who hold Donald Trump's view that we shouldn't be sending any more aid to Ukraine, and then you have the more hawkish, more traditional Republicans who believe in aiding Ukraine in this effort. But what's interesting here is the president's use of the term dictator to describe Zelensky. And you've had Republicans up here on Capitol Hill, even though they agree with Donald Trump's approach, they don't agree with using that term. You had Senate Majority Leader John Thune saying those are Donald Trump's words. That's how he described it. So you see a little bit of distance being created between some Republicans up here and Trump in terms of the rhetoric described, but they're also willing to give him some latitude and leeway to bring an end, they say, to this war and have some kind of peace process.
Caitlin Huey-Burns, thank you.